with Crystal. I'm your host, Crystal Dean. I'm a California licensed attorney practicing wills, trusts, and estates at Nielsen, Cashman, and Dean in Eureka. I am here today to talk to you about why you might need an estate plan. We have clients come in all the time with the misconception that they aren't wealthy enough or they're too young to require an estate plan. So let's talk about the reasons why you might need one. Number one, if you own a home, more likely than not, you want to make sure that that place goes where you want it to go. And you want to avoid probate in the process. Probate is a process in California that is court administered. It can be very lengthy and extremely expensive. And if you have a house, more likely than not, you will be stuck in the probate world. Now, California law is changing a lot here in April of 2025, which I'll talk about at a later date. But for the most part, right now, if you have a house, it's more likely than not going to be put through the probate process if you don't have an estate plan. The threshold in California for probate is $184,000, and you might be surprised to learn that they don't factor in the mortgage or the debt on the home to determine that value. So, another reason people think they don't need an estate plan is they think they're too young to need one. Well, unfortunately, that's not true. Estate plans include what are called powers of attorney for finance and health. And a lot of times, if you get into an accident or something tragic happens at a young age, you end up in a hospital in a situation where you can't speak for yourself and you haven't put any documents in place. You may have heard of the case from 1998 about Terry, a 26-year-old woman who had a heart attack and ended up in a coma. Her husband wanted to pull her feeding tubes, but her parents objected. They ended up in prolonged litigation, and ultimately, a court granted her husband the ability to remove her feeding tube. But it wasn't until 7 years later that that occurred. So it's really important that you at least have powers of attorney in place to protect yourself so that your voice is heard. Another reason you might need an estate plan is you might have unique family dynamics. Examples of that would be if you have a child with special needs or a child with a disability. Maybe you have no children or no spouse and you don't know who your assets would go to. Or maybe you have a life partner, but you're not married. There's a lot of circumstances that we run into that could have been solved with a properly prepared estate plan. To recap, I think everyone probably needs an estate plan. There are few circumstances that we run into in our office where we think somebody is fine without one, but I highly recommend giving us a call and scheduling an estate plan consultation with one of our attorneys. You can reach us at 707-269-0167.